Okay, welcome back to Lapbooking 101 with the Christian Drama Queen. I am said drama queen. I realized after I did the first two videos, you probably need me to go back to basics and give you a list of supplies that you are going to need when you scrapbook with your kids, right? Or not scrapbook, but lapbook with your kids. So this is a list of supplies. Now, the reason I'm not showing you my supplies is because I don't want to be accused of product placement and trying to sell for any individual company, okay? So I will mention things that I use, but we're not going to show any of the products that we use, okay? So one of the first things that you're going to need is either file folders or cardstock. Now, I recommend, and you're going to need cardstock anyway, but when it comes to actually building your lap books, file folders work best because they're already pre-made to fold into a shutter, okay? Which I like doing. Now, you don't have to do it this way. I just think the presentation is a lot prettier if you do it that way. So that's me. But you can do it any way you want, all right? So there is, oh, look, you guys can see my trash can through my glass desk. I'm going to move that. I'm extremely authentic. All right, so file folders. You're going to need cardstock. It doesn't matter if it's white. It doesn't matter if it's... I buy packets of cardstock at the office supply place, and if the cost is no different, if the plain is, you do it your way. You pick, but you're going to need some cardstock. You cannot use regular paper for this because regular paper is too flimsy. Now, we are going to use some regular paper. We're going to use paper that the kids can write on. We're going to print out our own writing paper for them to practice their handwriting skills. And you're going to use regular paper for bits and pieces of what we're doing with the lap folders, and I'll show that to you when we go along. But so you're going to need some paper. So typing paper, or you're going to need notebook paper. You might need graph paper. You're going to need some paper. Okay. Now, I don't want you going out and buying brand new stuff and making a whole, finding a whole bunch of supplies. But you got to need blank paper. You got to need paper. You're just going to need paper. Okay. Because they're going to write on it, they're going to draw on it, and you're going to use it. All right. So this is what we need as far as paper for our manipulatives. All right. We also need something sticky. All right. So I used glue stick most of the time with the kids when they were little. It was easiest and it was less messy. However, one of the things that I also like to use is a tape runner. If you don't know what a tape runner is, you can just look one up on Amazon. You can see what they look like. I got mine from Creative Memories back when they were doing scrapbooking supplies. It was handy, and at the time, that's the only place we could get it. So I like tape runners because you're going to need something sticky to put the manipulatives into your lap pack with. You can also use glue. Do not use hot glue. Because what happens is, number one, it's extremely thick. Number two, your kids can get burned. And number three, after a while, it just separates on paper and cardstock. It begins to separate and pull apart. All right. I have lap books that the kids did 25 years ago. They're still together. We used most of the time glue stick. Now, if you use liquid glue, which you can do, just remember you don't need very much. Okay. Small amounts. All right. I recommend when you're putting lap packs together, if you're going to use glue, liquid glue, then use just a dot here, there to put things together. Otherwise, because when you're using paper and cardstock, sometimes the glue will just soak up through it and it doesn't look very nice. Okay, so small amounts of liquid glue if that's what you choose to use, little tiny beads. And when I'm putting my lap packs together for you here on these videos, I'll show you what it's like to use just a little bit of liquid glue in order to put those things together. Okay. You're going to need scissors, plain scissors. You can also use fun scissors. Straight scissors are good for a lot of the cutting that we'll do. But you can use some pattern scissors. What do they call those? Decorative scissors. And the kids like to use those. They're fun. All right. Old magazines. If you can find them. Hardly anybody even has magazines anymore. All right, so old magazines, and I'll tell you something else I use. If you ever go to the Goodwill store, you can use old textbooks and workbooks that you find. And I actually have been known to buy someone's used curriculum. And for example, I'll give you an example. We bought used Abeka history curriculum textbooks, and we sin of all sins, we cut those pictures out of there and we use them in our lap book making when we were putting together history lap books and stuff like that. Okay, so you need, these are your supplies. So you need file folders, cardstock, typing paper, graph paper, blank paper. You don't have to have all of those at once. You can start with just plain paper. You're going to need something sticky, glue stick, tape runners. Do not use hot glue. Okay. Liquid glue in small amounts, small beads of liquid glue work. Scissors, old magazines, old textbooks, workbooks. Let's see, something else that you might want to consider is just other crafty materials. Okay, so things like ribbons, strings, markers, pencils, colored pencils, colored pens, gel pens. If you want to, you can even get that, use that black paper to do some of the stuff that your kids are going to make. You can get the black paper to use with your gel pens. So these are just, this is a list of things that I recommend that you have on hand when you start to go through my videos as we are building our lap books. Okay, so, whew, you know I love you. I'll be back for the next lesson soon.